Everyone. My name is Taylor Trevino. I'm happy to be here and answer everybody's questions. So to give a bit of a background about myself, I grew up in LA and I've always had an interest in like ocean sciences. And so when I was in high school, I prepared a lot to be able to apply to college, and CSU Monterey Bay really stood out to me. Since living in LA, I went to Huntington Beach a lot. I used to volunteer at the Aquarium of the Pacific. And so I kind of sparked my interest in ocean sciences that way. And it led me to go to Monterey. And that jump from, I am a first generation student. My parents did not go to college. So it was a really big jump for me to go from LA to Monterey Bay. And it's probably one of the best decisions I've made. This school is really diverse and inclusive, and it has a really good marine science department. The faculty here are really supportive of any your career plans, your college plans, and just your success of being an undergraduate student. So I came into CSUMB as a marine science student. I'm still studying marine science and I absolutely love it. I had a professor, her name is Dr. Sherry Palacios, that teaches at CSU Monterey Bay, and she encouraged me to be able to pursue undergraduate research. So this past summer, I was involved in an REU program, and an REU is research for undergraduates. And so basically you have 10 weeks and you're able to do a research project, and you have a mentor, and you're aligned with an institution host. So I was paired with the Hopkins Marine Station, which is also in Monterey Bay in Lovers Point, really close to here. So I was able to conduct my own research. And with that, I've been able to present at scientific conferences as an undergraduate. So I was able to present my work at SACNAS, which is a Hispanic-led kind of scientific conference, and it's really great first experience, and I had a great time there. It was virtual, but as things are starting to open up in light of COVID, more things are going to be in person. And I was also able to present at the Ocean Sciences meeting, which is another scientific conference, and be able to network. And then from these experiences, now as a third year, I'm getting ready to start applying to grad school. So I'm looking forward to applying to a PhD programs, and the faculty here are able to support that. I'm also involved in, we have UROC, it's an Undergraduate Research Opportunity Center. So I'm in the UROC Scholars cohort, and we meet weekly to prepare for graduate school, personal statements, how to get letters of recommendations, building up your CV, and kind of presenting yourself as more of a professional now that I'm almost about to graduate. So I'm graduating spring 2023, so I'll be able to apply to grad school in this upcoming fall. So that's just a little bit about me and myself and what I've been able to do since being at Monterey Bay.
Excellent. So Taylor, I'll start off with a few questions now. For those viewing, you're free to use the Q&A as well as on our app. I'll be checking both sites for any questions about undergraduate life for Taylor. But to start off, I guess some general questions for you are, what is the campus life like? And I guess with COVID, as things are starting to lose certain restrictions over time, I know you probably started, then I guess, was it 2019, the fall of 2019?
Yes, fall of 2019.
So with that change and what's kind of occurring now, how is the campus life at Monterey Bay?
I think we have a pretty diverse campus life. When I was here as a freshman, I was able to be involved in Greek life. We have a lot of organizations on campus. We have a lot of interest groups. People are able to start up their own clubs, so I was able to do that as well. I'm in Theta Alpha Sigma, which is a sorority, so I was able to pledge my first semester and really get involved on campus. And it opened up to a lot of resources and being able to meet people and have study groups. And now that I'm back as a junior, things are a little bit different with COVID. We do wear masks on campus, but there's still a lot of involvement and engagement. We have a lot of clubs still hosting, and it's very, we have a lot of hybrid events and in-person, virtual, so it's able to be accessible to everyone. But I would say our campus is pretty busy during the day, still kind of quiet. We're really close to the beach, so a lot of students go there. From campus, it's about maybe a 15-minute walk, so very accessible. A lot of students walk everywhere. We have close stores nearby, but life is pretty engagement on campus. A lot of students in the library studying, and we have our new Otter Student Union, and that has the Starbucks in there and it has 3 levels, so a lot of students go there to meet with their clubs, study, go to Starbucks, and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then, like you said, that you are planning on a graduate career afterwards, but for undergraduate life, was there anything you were able to step your foot in and kind of be able to actually do some research, whether that's group research for a course, study abroad, an internship? What was kind of the opportunities you were able to take, even though you're an undergraduate? Any research opportunities you could have done that you did kind of feel like a student, prospective student might be able to reach out and also do?
Right. This is a good question. When I was doing my sophomore year, we had a course in bio, and we were able to do what we call as like a cure project. So you're able to do research, and it's led by your instructor. So it gives you kind of that firsthand experience of collecting data, what's your methodologies, and being able to start a project and see it through to the end. So I think that kind of sparked my interest in research. And then with that, I was able to apply to an REU internship over the summer that CSUMB hosts at this school. And then in addition, getting involved with UROC is a great opportunity to really step in with research and get your hands on. And my mentor is Dr. Allison Hopt, and she runs a lab here, and we have the science lab annex. And I can go into the lab, and just this past week, I was able to do sea urchin counting. So we take samples from Moss Landing, and I would look under a microscope to be able to see the larvae of sea urchins. This is really cool because it's just right here on campus, and we're sourcing the samples locally. And there's multiple labs within the marine science department and the environmental science department that can give you hands-on experiences, and faculty are more than willing to help you and guide you and see what kind of research sparks your interest.
That's really excellent. So based on what you said, yeah, if people don't know about Monterey Bay, if you don't mind, what is kind of, certain field sites that you can, like you said, Moss Landing, what does Monterey Bay actually have to offer for people who are interested in that field component, the field research?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Monterey is a great place to start for field research because we have so many different locally sources to be able to go out in the field that are really close by. We have Lovers Point, we have Breakwater. We also have a scuba diving program here. So if you want to be certified during your undergraduate research time, you're able to take a course, and they really help guide you and use those critical skills to be able to go diving out here as well. We also have Moss Landing that partners with us as well. That's really close by. I'm in a class right now, marine ecology, and just this past week, we took a field trip to Moss Landing, and we're doing sea otter counting and looking at their behavior. So even in class, we do a lot of hands-on field trips. We also went to Point Lobos, which is a little closer up by Carmel, and we went to Bird Rock, and we were able to look at different shorebirds and see their behaviors. So there's a lot of different local places that we're able to visit, especially like Carmel area, Point Lobos, really close to Big Sur. Yeah, there's a lot of different places out here in Monterey to go and visit, which is really great. If any of you guys are interested in coming, it's a great place to come see and visit and come look at the campus. We have a lot of tours going on at this time as well.
All right, that's excellent. Yeah, so Monterey Bay, it really is like very diverse, got a lot of rich marine life.
Yes.
So yeah, for that, I guess another thing is we've talked about the field research, but is there any like lab component that you've kind of also feel like might be advantageous, or any experience you've had in a lab?
Yeah, when I was taking some of my classes, we also did chemistry labs, and we were able to do kind of titrations and then be in a lab setting. We have various labs when you're working through marine science that you're able to participate in, and just kind of going off of that. Yeah, we did chem labs, there's bio labs, and just kind of working your way up. And now that I'm kind of at the end of my undergraduate experience, I'm doing more hands-on and field work as well. Were there any other questions? I can also talk about the kind of courses that you take. So as an undergraduate, you'll come in as marine science, there's an intro to marine science, and you're able to have faculty come in and they present on the type of research they're doing as well. And we have various faculty that kind of cover a broad range, as marine science is such a huge field and you can get into so many different types of research. Like personally, I do bridging the gap between the science literature and then the policy work, and seeing what we know about science and how we're able to communicate that to see larger impacts, and creating like marine protected areas and MPAs. I have a friend, he's doing phytoplankton. He looks at that with El Nino currents. I also have another friend that's going the veterinary path, and he's works closely with the Monterey Bay Aquarium and being able to learn those skills as well.
This is exactly right. So for those who didn't know, was that El Nino event that was actually a huge effect here in California. And actually now we're in what's called a La Nina since last summer, which is pretty cool that we have different weather oscillations. So right now we're actually getting more arid, bland weather, and then our climate in the oceans actually colder on average. Should end by summer, I think. But yeah, that's really interesting because it directly affects what you're studying, I believe, especially
Yes.
saying you'd like to do graduate school. I guess kind of gauging more of that interest for graduate school, what are you trying to focus on? Because right now, marine science, like you said, there's so many directions you can kind of take: veterinary science, education, you become a professor, you can do various projects with, non-governmental organizations. You might actually, do research on an island or stay here in California. So for yourself, for graduate school, what are you kind of leaning on focusing?
Right now, I'm looking into finding a mentor to be able to pursue graduate school. And so with that, I'm more focused on looking at highly migratory marine species that are traveling long distances between different various countries. And with those countries comes different policies and legislations that protect them. So I kind of look into where are the species migrating and at what time and what are their patterns looking like, and seeing if the policies in place are compatible in protecting those species when they are traveling these great distances. And so different countries have different exclusive economic zones. And so within those zones, those countries are liable for whatever happens to those species within those regions. So that's what I'm kind of looking into, and looking at the science and where are these highly migratory species migrating towards, and is the policies in place being able to protect them? Like, are there going to be gaps in the policies, or are these species being protected when and at what time that they need them to be protected by? And as far as grad school goes, there's so many different programs within just California alone, as well as out of state that I've been looking into. And then with that, I guess the best thing is kind of looking at research papers and what kind of sparks your interest and what could you see first in the foreseeable future of you doing that. So I'm kind of going the more science and policy route. And with that, I'd want to eventually be able to earn my PhD, become a tenured faculty, and have my own research lab and be able to oversee different students' projects.
Oh, that's like that's a really great goal. Yeah, you're talking about marine mammals. So for those who didn't know, do you happen to know various types of marine mammals that we do get across Monterey?
Oh yeah, not too long ago, I went whale watching. We saw humpback whales. There's a lot of porpoises, dolphins, sea turtles. We have a lot of highly migratory marine species coming into this area because of how rich the nutrients and like, especially with the El Nino, excuse me. But yeah, a lot of those species coming in.
Yeah, exactly. So for those viewing, if you are interested, a lot of schools, marine schools in California, especially so Monterey Bay, because of just the way that they're located, very nutrient-rich water. And so those type of marine mammals, like Taylor was saying, if you're interested in studying marine mammal and studying, biodiversity, you get pretty lucky because you could just go out to the ocean and study it from there. There's various research that's being done. Not sure if in Monterey Bay, but I'm sure as well. Various schools can do things like monitoring or tracking various migratory whales, because you get local or resident whales, such as resident killer whales in certain areas. It's more so in British Columbia, as well as transient or migratory mammals like an orca. They feed differently than a local. And same thing with the dolphins or other type of baleen whales. Some are local and some are migratory. And so kind of understanding that and tracking them, footage, tagging them, there's various projects you can do. And even on smaller scales, like you said, with sea urchins, so, going from the field to the lab. It's a lot on that. If you don't mind going more in depth, so what exactly did you do with those urchins?
So the project that they're working on is a recruitment process. So basically, they're trying to count the amount of sea urchin larvae that are in the water column to see where they're being dispersed, and are they able to make it to adulthood. So basically what's going on is, I can answer the question really quick. Georgia asked, could you please repeat what exactly you are studying? So I'm studying marine science at the moment. And going back to the sea urchins, so we have the collected samples, they bring them to Allison's lab, and I take them and I pour them into the Petri dishes and I put them under a microscope, and I'm able to look and see what was in the water column and identify if we're seeing the sea urchin larvae or not, and if they're occurring and how much they're occurring as well, and seeing what their dispersal patterns are and the recruitment process. Yeah, so there's different sorts of research that you can get into, from like the intertidal zone, the benthic zone, if you want to go the pelagic route, and there's so much different research that you can look into, especially in Monterey.
All right, so Taylor, I'm going to leave you for just a couple minutes as I introduce my next presenter on the other on our agenda. But so Taylor, if you don't mind, you did say you were a first generation student.
Yes.
I was as well. So if you don't mind talking about that for a few minutes, and I return, I'll go with the next question if there's still a viewer who doesn't want to put a question down. So for that case, first gen, yeah, what is that? What difficulties did you find were a little bit unique to it, and how did you overcome that? And what would you kind of give as motivation to those who maybe aren't very familiar with the education system beyond high school?
Right, yeah, I have a lot to talk about this. So I guess I can start off in high school. I always knew I wanted to pursue a higher education just because my parents weren't able to do that. And I wanted to be able to support myself in my own career, and as well as I have two younger siblings, and be able to show them what higher education looks like and how many doors will be able to open from that. So in high school, I took a lot of AP classes to be able to earn some credits going into college. So there was that. And then the application process was a little bit more difficult to me just because I did do it on my own. I didn't really have my parents' help with it. So it was kind of a learning curve being able to navigate those applications. And then on the financial side, being able to look at application fee waivers and just kind of waiting through that. And so once I got accepted into CSU Monterey Bay, there's, of course, you have to apply for FAFSA. And I feel like that was one of the harder things I had to do because my parents didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really know how to, work with my parents' tax forms. And then my parents are divorced. So it's having to like navigate that and having to, apply it on my own. And the financial aid office here, they do host FAFSA workshops that are very helpful to be able to get those paperwork in time and have your tuition and whichever else that your financial aid is able to cover. So that was that process. And then coming here as a first generation student, I felt like I was placed in the freshman dorms on campus. So I lived in what we have Cypress, and I was really close to Chapman, which is our science building. And I lived in a living learning program, meaning that all the students around me were also either studying some sort of marine science, environmental science, or just kind of the general STEM field. And I felt like that was really helpful to me to be able to connect with other people that are in my classes and then come back to the dorms and kind of hang out with them as well. And then through that, I think from the jump from high school to college was a bit different for me, and navigating, going to class. Like there's no one telling me I have to go to class anymore. It's kind of on your own and learning how to be more independent away from your family, which is, I think, a great experience, especially for me coming from LA to Monterey. I was kind of on my own. I didn't go home until kind of the breaks or the holidays that we had. And I think it really built myself up as a person and myself as an individual. And I think our campus is really helpful with navigating just the various things when it comes to taking tests that are different now that in high school, like we have midterms, you have exams, the finals week. I didn't realize how that was going to be either because it was just really all new. And at CSUMB, we have these like 2-week period, and it's like the finals week, and different programs will be able to kind of provide more resources. The library stays open longer. And then in our library, we also have the Cooperative Learning Center, which is the CLC, and they partner with the different professors, and there are students that are able to help tutor you in these classes. So I definitely took advantage of that, and that has helped me keep my GPA up throughout my undergraduate so far.
All right, so Taylor, I guess most of the people here are high school. So what do you think is the path they should take? Because of course it's not just coursework, but maybe extracurriculars. What do you think will kind of help them stand out if they were to apply at CSUMB?
I think being able to get involved with your community really shows your dedication to where you are locally. So when I was in high school, I did extracurriculars such as I was in cheer, I did track. We had what was called Chieftain Friends, so I was able to work with other students and kind of do some sort of mentoring program, which was really helpful. I think volunteering is also really great if you're able to be able to pursue that. And then coming to campus, Greek life was really helpful to me here, and being able to meet other girls that are in my sorority and help me through school. A lot of them were taking the same classes together. Just having someone to go study with or go out to lunch, stuff like that, and just kind of having that community.
All right, awesome. So I guess we could leave it for maybe one or two more questions. So Taylor, again, I guess with COVID, of course, that spring of 2020 is quite a stark difference than what maybe would have been offered when you were that senior. But as of now, what kind of opportunities are there despite the fact that there's still a bit of some restrictions, but it's easing up? So what do you think a prospective student could be excited for CSUMB compared to other schools? What do you think kind of makes them stand out, and what is maybe an opportunity if someone were to be accepted? What should they kind of take if they wanted to be a marine scientist, like a course or a program or anything?
I think a great first course to start off if you're coming into CSUMB as like a marine science student. I took Intro to Marine Science, and we had different faculty from our marine science program come in and talk about their research and what they do. And that's kind of like the first start of like what exactly could you see yourself doing within the marine science field. Like we have faculty that do like scuba research. We have faculty that do drone and GIS and satellite data tracking. We have invertebrate labs. We have intertidal work. So it really gives you that first step of being exposed to the different fields within marine science. We also, when you're coming in as a new student, we also have water days, and you're able to see what the campus has to offer, the different programs and support. I think being able to be involved as much as you can, and kind of, I know it can be kind of scary sometimes, being a first generation student coming on campus, and it's might be overwhelming, but as long as you can have maybe a couple of friends to go with and being able to explore the different options that we have here at CSUMB, I feel like we have a really tight-knit community, and people are willing to help you as long as you're kind of jump out of your comfort zone and reach out, and people will reach out to you as well. So I think coming on to CSUMB is a great opportunity, especially for marine science.
Right. So you mentioned scuba. Do you happen to be certified, Taylor?
Not yet. I am looking to have it certified, but I do have friends in the scuba program, and they said that it was a great experience.
Oh, I bet.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, so again, so anyone who's a prospective student in Monterey Bay as well, get really great kelp forests. So a lot of California, but especially cold water. So the El Nino did affect that, but now with our colder water returning, kelp forests are thriving once again. So you could do various research in a kelp forest here in California. You don't necessarily have to go on a tropical island. Actually, a lot of people assume tropical islands are kind of like the hotspot for diversity, but actually our waters off the Pacific, the Eastern Pacific, are some of the healthiest waters we have because of the nutrient-rich upwelling we get. So you can get a lot of wildlife here. A lot of people just have never heard about it. So There is a question here. They want to know your email if you can put in the chat. They want to follow up with you. So again, Taylor Trevino is a third year undergraduate student looking for a grad school later on, marine science and environmental policy. CSUMB is a very excellent school, excellent programs. You can look on their website as well. Various schools in California, but Monterey Bay is a little bit distinct because of its extreme nutrient-rich waters. So if you guys have any more interest in that, believe there's no more questions left. Oh, here's one. How are marine science classes having a public aquarium on campus?
We don't have a public aquarium on campus, but we do have our Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is everybody comes down here. It's super popular. And as a student, you're able to get a free ticket for the school semester. So I was able to take advantage of that and be able to go and see the aquarium there. And the people that work there are really great, and they give really good information. It's a really cool place to visit.
All right, I repeated that email you sent. I believe maybe only I had access to all attendees, but there it is for you guys. This teacher at csumb.edu. So
Yeah,
again,
I'm happy to answer any questions people have. I'm always on my emails.
yes.
So if anybody wants to reach out, I'm more than willing to answer your questions and meet up to talk as well.
And again, Taylor, if you have anything to say or finish off with, the floor is yours. Anything left for these? I'm assuming mostly high school students here for this panel, this discussion here.
I think the biggest thing is being able to kind of break out of your comfort zone. And I think college is a great way to do that and kind of build yourself up as your own individual, away from your parents, and kind of explore the different types of things that you like, and being able to have a really strong community on campus and a good group of friends to help you navigate through that. And especially if you guys are first generation students like I am, it is kind of scary, and it is new, and it is different, but it's a great experience. And I've loved my undergraduate so far, and just being able to be in Monterey with a new environment is just really great. So if you guys are looking into college, just kind of don't be too scared, just be encouraged, and find your own motivations in your own way to be able to make the career that you want for yourself.
Yes. Yeah, so again, yeah, Taylor and I share that same experience being first gen. And I will speak on personal experience. Definitely do not be afraid to read. It might take a little bit more effort just because your parents didn't have that experience. You're going to have to kind of learn it on your own a bit more. But it is definitely worth it if you get those opportunities. If you have any insecurities about it, you should do it. I did this study abroad program that I knew since I was 17. And for 5 years, I just thought I would never be able to do it because I did withdraw my first year from my university. And I did get readmitted, but I had thought I probably didn't have the criteria anymore to get accepted since I had that kind of hiccup. But you should never really say no. Don't let your insecurities get the best of you. I was accepted in that, and those opportunities are there for you guys. Humans aren't robots. They are very understanding. They'll understand your entire background, your type of obstacles that you might have had to overcome. So again, follow up with Taylor on that. If you had more follow-up questions, as well as on our Whova app, we should have enough information on our speaker center where you can contact them as well. But thank you again, Taylor. That was really informative. I hope you guys were able to take something from that. Thank you again, Taylor. It was excellent.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to be able to share my own experiences.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you again, viewers. Hopefully you can catch up with us on the last few presentations we have of the day. So see you then. All right, goodbye.
Bye, everyone.